Hi, in this case study, we're going to go back and visit another bully, and we've seen a couple before. The king, in a previous case study, was a cherry picking bully, and also we ran into a job shop curmudgeon. But this will help to give us more confidence about dealing with bullies either reactively or proactively. In this case, it's a proactive story. Um, we're dealing with a Global-50 manufacturer. Everybody know their name, and they basically, were pounding everybody to get an ever better deal. Here they are wanting more. The story really was an MRO category buyer called a client who happened to have an emergency fill-in amount of stuff that this lady needed. So she was so thankful and so appreciative of her service. She said, "Well, why don't you bid on the contract? Because our current supplier that we have is terrible." So we did a little investigation and we found out that there actually had been four different suppliers in the last 4 years, sort of an annual deal to sort of bid, and this big factory was buying the lowest price, and one of the previous owners of the contract said yeah, and they pile on all the extras to the point where you just can't make any money. So I got involved in a little summit meeting with the current buyer and a lady who had been the buyer before and sort of a senior category buyer person. And I said, look, I've done a little research here, and it seems that every year you kind of have a new supplier. So what are you doing on your side to sort of account for this kind of turnover? I mean, it's sort of like getting married, divorced a bunch of times. And they took no blame. They said, look, I'm sorry, we don't make money on everything. We actually have big government jobs and we bid on them. We actually lose money. And I said, well, why do you do that? They said, we don't know. We just do. And basically you should too, in a sense, was the implication. So when I said, well, gee, no thanks. The distributor that I'm working with, they have two sort of ironclad guidelines. One is service excellence. If they say they're going to do something, they will do it. Unconditional guarantees are often what they provide. If there's any mistake that they make that causes the client a hidden cost, they often will compensate that more or less with their guarantees. But they only want to do business on a profitable basis. They're not into empty volume or losing money. So I guess going forward, the only thing we can do is continue to take care of your fill-ins if and when we can, and of course at our price and a profitable term. Well, there was a big explosion and the gorilla pounded the table a few times, etc. And I just diplomatically said, well, I got to go now. And so it didn't last long. Well, that boundary control, that ability to say this is who we are, what we stand for, and what we believe in, and obviously we don't have a match, so let's not get involved, so impressed the incumbent buyer that 3 years later, when a new vice president of supply chain from the outside came in to run this monster procurement story at this monster company, his philosophy was, why are you churning suppliers so much? Go find the very best one and then marry them and continuously improve that relationship to get ever better, more effective economics out of the relationship. He like kind of McDonald's philosophy. So the buyer then called up my client. My client went right up there and got the contracts, has had it for 24 years and counting ever since. So the morals of the story are, when we go to sell somebody, we have to sort of try to plot them on that 10 by 10 grid we saw in an earlier clip, where the x-axis was, you lose, I win, all the way to let's both win, and the y-axis was supply chain system economic sophistication, and McDonald's was out there in the northeast corner at a 10-10. So where are these people on the continuum? And it's easy to sort of look at how well they've partnered with their customers, their employees. Do they attract and retain good people and invest in them and take the long-term view there? With their suppliers, ask for testimonials. And if they refuse to give you testimonials about win-win sort of relationships they've had, it's because they probably don't have any. They're probably beating them all up. So basically, looking at their track record, it's not that hard to know when to pass and play firmly and opportunistically with them. And if we play opportunistically with them, it's really the reverse of cherry picking. We are cherry selling, if you will. But always let on that, look, we have total supply chain math, and we are ready to sit down in a very broad and collaborative and informed way to figure out how to create a win-win supply chain design whenever you're ready. And it may not be in this lifetime. So that's the end of the story of the 800-pound gorilla bully. Thank you.